Hi there. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can prepare your computer for running Python. To run Python, you need two things. One is Anaconda, which is a software that manages Python distribution. And the other one is Visual Studio Code, which is an interface that you can use for coding. Okay, so you can start search about how to install a Conda environment in VS Code. Um, you can get some good explanation of the process. Um, the process is first we have to download Anaconda. So skip registration, download Anaconda for your computer. You may have Windows or Mac. Um, It's available for both. You have to be careful that you are downloading the right version. Um, so in this case, my platform is Windows. I'm running the Anaconda for Windows. It's gonna take some time. While that is working, you can also um, go to Visual Studio Code to the page, and you can also download. Again, you may have different OS operating system and you can download the one that works for you. So once Anaconda is downloaded, I'm going to first run Anaconda. So it's pretty straightforward. Just go ahead. If you have multiple users on your computers, you should say all users, so all users can use Anaconda. Um, and then you install the software. You don't need to change anything. You can just go with the default. Okay, mine took a while. I guess also I had maybe a couple of instances of installation. I clicked on that too many times. Anyways, so it is completed. And then next and next, and we don't really need to launch it now and finish. Okay, so Anaconda is installed. Um, what we want to do now, we want to create an environment. This environment is like a shell, like a container that will contain all the packages that we want. So it basically creates like a contained environment of packages. The reason that we create environment because you may want to have multiple environments. You may want to work on multiple projects. Each project will have its own environment, and you can move these environments and replicate them in other computers. Anyway, so we need this environment. Okay, I want you to find this page, Conda Manage Environments. And this page, Conda is basically a core of Anaconda distribution. So, um, and here at you can see that these are some command lines um, that they will help you to create an environment. There are multiple cases of creating environments. There are multiple command lines that will tell you how to create environment. Um, and these each of these have some specific application. The main standard one is conda space create space dash dash name, and then you will have the name of your environment there. um, you can install that environment with a specific version of Python because Python just, you might get a new version. If sometimes you want to go to an older version, so you can specify what version of Python you want. If you don't specify this, you will get the most recent version. And then you can also ask to add some packages while you are installing the environment. you can ask Python to install some packages. Each package will be good for some sort of tasks. Um, for example, SciPy is good for scientific and numerical calculations. Um, and we have a bunch of other packages. We'll talk about this. So because we want to install the environment, and we also want to install those packages that we need. Um, if we can do it at the same time, that would be great. So once the Python, the Anaconda is installed on your machine, you should be able to find something we call a Anaconda prompt. Um, okay. If you are on Mac, you can basically use your terminal um, for um, this purpose. Um, most of the commands are the same, and if there are plenty of resources to find about how to install an environment in Anaconda and packages for Mac, for example. You can Google that. But let's go with this one, Conda create dash dash name, and here we should have our own environment. I'm going to use UDA, Urban Data Analysis, for UDA, for Urban Data Analysis class. So we use this one, or if you are in the GIS class or advanced GIS class or anything. So you can have your own name. That could be any name. It doesn't need to be specifically this, but any name that you want, then space, and now we can just specify the packages that we need. For example, I want to install pandas. Um, if you are also in the GIS class, you can use GeoPandas. These are also, they don't take much spaces, so installing all of them is not a bad idea. So pandas, GeoPandas, Shapely, um, another one is stats models for visualization map, Hotlib, Seaborn, um, what else? Jupyter Lab, which is a kind of a notebook environment for your code. Um, Scikit-learn. Let me see how we can. Um, we have to write scikit-learn. For example, I don't know how to write scikit-learn is a package. Conda install sklearn. So this page will, if you have installed your environment and you activated your environment, then you can use this line for installing that package. For now, I just want this name, scikit dash learn. So going back to this, scikit dash learn is good for machine learning stuff. Um, and then another cool package is Fiona. Fiona, you can visualize maps with it. I guess this is it for now, but you can always come back and install packages in an environment. So once this is done, I'm going to say enter. Let's see. All right, anything happening? This is acting a bit weird today. Okay, got it started. So it starts basically creating that environment. It will ask you whether you want to proceed or not. Yes. You can just say enter because yes is the default, or say yes. And it just starts downloading all those packages and will install the packages that you need. For example, another package that I would like to use, I forgot to add, is Rasterio. I can say Conda install Rasterio. There you go. I'm going to from anaconda.org. You find this page. Basically, this is the line that you can use for installing Rasteria once your um, environment is created. If this line doesn't work, those are basically alternative lines that you can use. So I'm copying this for now. Let's go back here. It's gonna take some time to download all the packages and install. Okay, so this is done. The environment is created. So you can start using the environment now. But let's say I have also forgotten to install a package when I was creating the environment. I can also show you how you can activate your environment and then install other packages. In this case, hold on, let me just close this door. That's great. Okay, so in this case, you can say uh, activate my environment, UDA. If you're on Mac, you should say source activate your environment. Um, but in Windows and if you're in Anaconda prompt, you don't need to say source. So activate UDA. This will now you see that those parentheses, this was base. So it means that was your root or your base environment. So that's the default environment. So you start with just one default environment. But now we created UDA and this parentheses basically this shows us that we have a new environment UDA and it is activated. So this whatever I'm doing here, I'm changing and modifying that environment. I'm doing this task for that environment. So we said we want to install Rasterio package. So I'm getting that, copying that, and just going to here and saying paste it here, conda install whatever that line is, and then run. So this should install this new package of Rasterio in my UDA environment. It will take some time. Sometimes some of these may not, some of these lines may not work. So go to the next line and next line and next line. To eventually you can do it. There are some other ways to install packages in an environment. This is one of those methods. Right, it took a while, but eventually this is done. Um, Now we're done with Anaconda. We want to go ahead and install VS Code, which let me go back here. So I'm going to install the VS Code here, and I can close this one. Accept, next, next, next. We don't change anything. I don't, yeah, and just create an icon. Um, that's it. You're waiting until this is installed. This one actually is pretty light. It should not take a long time. Okay, good. We can launch Visual Studio. That's great. Okay, so we have now our VS Code. This is the VS Code environment. This is the VS Code extensions. Um, this area is very important because we need to install some of these to run our code. Um, and the easiest way really is opening a notebook, an existing notebook that you have on your computer, and um, that will basically itself tell you what to install. So I'm going to open a Jupyter notebook that I had created in the past. So as you can see, these are some of the Python code that we have, and I can and basically the VS Code itself says you need Python extension. And I'm just saying, yes, I need Python extension install. That number is a good number to show you whether this extension is a good, reliable extension or not. This one is downloaded 152 million times. So, and there's a rating here. So that, when you are, and there are so many plugins for so many different things to do in VS Code. It's very flexible environment. So you want to pay attention to that. Um, now that I have my Python installed, for example, I want to run this, we call this block or with this cell. If I say execute the cell, you can see that says, well, you need a kernel. Do you want to enable this Python plus Jupyter extension? And I say yes. So that the installing Jupyter extension also on top of the Python. And then it says what Python environment do we want to use? See, so basically the VS Code itself is walking you through this. I'm going to say Python environment, click on it to see what we have. So there's a base environment that I showed you when we were installing Anaconda. And this is also a UDA environment that we created, and that also has Python, right? So I'm going to say I want to use the UDA. So go ahead and says yes, low access. Um, and if we are able to import all of these packages, which we did, that green check mark shows that all of these um, packages are imported. And that means you're good to go. Your Python is environment, your Python, the environment and the VS Code is all ready to use. Welcome to coding.